you want to hear something really petty? I thought the other day.
Always.
At the moment, Starfield is out doing the rounds where they're like, "Thank you for 10 million players." And there's always, whenever I see stories like that, there's always a little part of me which is like, "Take me off the count. I didn't like your game."
Yes, the same. I downloaded that. I played it for like 2 seconds. Didn't even press play. I was on the menu, and they probably counted me as a player.
Wouldn't that be such a hilarious picture from like Microsoft, where in the same image it just says 10 million downloads for Starfield, 5 million people don't like it.
yeah, half of them uninstalled within 4 hours.
But half of them didn't even press play on it. But they downloaded it.
It's funny because like it doesn't bother me really, and I'm happy the game is out and doing well, and so many people are enjoying it. But there's always that little part of me that's like, "Hey, fuck you."
For me, it's like what constitutes like playing Starfield, right? If you download it on Game Pass, are you a statistic for playing it?
I think even just going to like the homepage of it, and looking at that install button probably counts.
If you Google Starfield, you're a player.
Own a PC. 4.7 billion Starfield players. It's like,
but yeah, it kept like changing, didn't it? They kept up putting. I think it was like 5 million, 8 million, no, 10 million people. They're all playing Starfield. It's like, I played it for a bit. I guess that counts.
I mean, it's not to take away. That's a huge number of people, but
yes. I feel like it's weird now because it's almost it means something different. I feel these days when it's like a subscription game compared to 10 million boxed copies for 70 quid of Starfield. That's not what's happening, right? It's like some dude who games for 10 minutes a week got Game Pass as part of his iPhone 15 contract with O2. And he's installed Starfield, and now he's part of a statistic. He has no like realization.
Yeah.
So it's weird, but I don't know. Yeah, good for Starfield, I guess. I think Xbox has been kind of not on the lose, but they needed some kind of success.
They needed a win, yeah. It's just a shame it was at the cost of like taking that away from other consoles. Like at PlayStation, it was never coming to Switch, obviously, but
yeah. What was it?
It's not like a success story that's like, hey, they came up with an IP, they founded a studio, and they put out. It's like, no, they just paid away. They just bought Bethesda and said, no, it's not coming out on PlayStation, and that counts as a win.
I mean, they had a little bit of a win with Starfield, but the monkey's paw, curled, and now Microsoft got their karma.
Oh yeah, it's like it's like by the same merit that like Will's saying, it's like imagine Microsoft buying Nintendo and being like, "Good job, Microsoft, for 10 million sales on Zelda." It's like, well, you didn't really do it. Sorry, Sam, I completely cut you off.
Yeah, I was just gonna. I was gonna say something. Oh no!
That doesn't bode well for you got 2 hours of this, Sam.
No, sorry. I've remembered. Bring me back. No, I remember seeing quite a few people actually say like with these leaks, although it is a massive leak, like there's not a lot of negative stuff, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
You want to just like spin the podcast on its head and go straight into this, as opposed to
should we do intros and then start with that story?
Let's mix it up a bit. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Game FourCast, our weekly gaming podcast where we chat about everything that we've played and all the new news stories for the day. It's a big news story week. There's some big stuff this week. My name is BottlerWorks, and I'm with Olive Meister Will.
Hello.
Sammeh.
Hello.
And Quikwix Steve.
Hi, I've been good this week, so Josh let me out of the cage.
Yeah, he's let out of the dog kennel this week. He's been good. As we said, we'll spin it on its head. Like, screw it. It's a massive week for news. As we were just going into, we'll break it down step by step. But I think like 5 to 8 years worth of Xbox stuff and Microsoft stuff has just leaked out into the open. What do you know about this? I took it from you, Will. What were you going to say? What do you know about this so far? If anything.
Oh, no, not a lot. Just I've been just seeing the like. There's almost so much of it. I just didn't. I kept seeing like wackier and wackier news stories come out, and every time I read one, I was like, well, that can't be real. Like this is where someone's having me on. But no, most of it, yeah.
Yeah. So the crux of the whole thing is the FTC versus Microsoft case. Has all been going on thanks to all this, Activision, Blizzard buying shenanigans, blah blah blah, blah. And I think it's information between 2020 and about 2028. Has all just been put online. Stuff regarding new consoles, next gen consoles, new controllers, games. What else? There's internal goss. Like just
there was personal emails.
Yeah, just like what Phil Spencer thinks about people. It's just and like certain companies. It's crazy, and it's all just out there. And it was the initial conversation was, I think, just how does this happen? Like something of this magnitude, like what has happened? And I think people's first speculations were the FTC had made some kind of blunder, and just either messed up or leaked something online. But apparently this is from Microsoft's side. Like Microsoft straight up uploaded. They didn't redact. They didn't do it all properly, whatever. But ultimately, this is all just up now. So
someone's getting fired.
Someone is getting fucking locked in a dungeon and never seen again, let alone fired. Like Jesus, because this is, like we said, it's big stuff. It's like next gen plan stuff that I imagine can't change.
Yeah. Well, I think a lot of it. Well, like you said, like everything is subject to change, right? Obviously.
Yes.
And I think hasn't Phil Spencer come out and said like, hey, this is all internal stuff. Disappointing to see it out in the world, but like, take everything with a grain of salt until we officially announce it. But there is a lot of stuff in here that's like, it seems like is far enough along that you're like. I'd put money on that actually happening.
Yeah,
because this is old information, so it's from like 2020, but like it plans out for the next coming years, and it's like so some of it we've seen actually already come to fruition, and some of it hasn't. And my favorite part is the Nintendo stuff because that's just good.
Yeah, so one of the big ones was I think it was that part was redacted, I think, as to who it was emailed to, but it was an email.
No, it was it. We know.
Oh, do you know who was that? I'll try to find it in here, but who was that sent to then?
I don't know the name off the top of my head.
No, that's fine. Ultimately, it's Phil Spencer being like, "Yeah, we want to have talks with Nintendo," and I think Valve are name dropped as well, as to like just companies Microsoft want to eventually like work with or gobble up in some way. I think Phil Spencer words it as what is it? It's like Nintendo's future is off their own hardware and they don't see that yet or something. It's like it's very interestingly like worded.
Yeah.
And he says something similar about Valve. But yeah, you got that was one of the big ones. The other one was find the picture. The biggest one I think are the new consoles. Like that's the good stuff. It's the new Xbox Series X. It's the new Xbox Series S. These are due around like
about Xbox consoles.
Well, I mean, they're okay. Don't get me wrong. They're like they're really shittily named. They're horribly named. But this is your PS5 equivalent. This is Xbox's bringing to this gen, which is kind of weird. It feels like I know they've sold a lot of these consoles, but I don't know anyone that owns a Series X. Don't know if you do.
Aaron's sister has a Series X. That's about it. But yeah, I feel like I don't really know anyone with one either.
Yeah, they've said part of this leak is there's a refresh for both of these consoles coming very soon. Again, I don't know how out of date this news is because some of it might be more recent than others. Like Steve was saying some is like 20. It's from 2020.
Yeah,
which is
and that
was prime
COVID time.
Yeah, that was. I feel like early 2020 was like prime COVID optimism.
That's where we still had some hope.
That's when people were like, "This will last a few months, but we'll get back on track."
Yeah.
And then it lasted like a year and a half.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's looking interesting. It's a rounded design. Again, this could all change, obviously. But the current Series X is like a mini fridge. It's like a big.
Yeah, it's like a little crate.
Yeah.
I put my milk in it.
This one looks more like it kind of looks like a smart device.
I was going to say it looks like an Alexa or
yeah. Like what they call like the dots or something.
What would Xbox would it be Google? Hey Google?
It'd be hey.
It was Cortana, but they just discontinued that, didn't they? So I don't think it. Well, it doesn't have one,
when it was Connect, you used to just say Xbox, didn't you? You say Xbox, play blah blah. Xbox, go
that's
home.
Boring. It's a shame Cortana got fired. I hope she finds a new job.
What else? They got new controllers, which I'll be honest, kind of look like.
They look like the old controllers, but that's fine. Those are good controllers. So
yeah, haven't they released like 17 controllers, and I don't know what the most current one is.
Well, typically you just go on Amazon and type in Xbox controller, and you'll probably get like the newest one.
Yeah, they have those like they did the like Xbox Pro controller.
Oh, the Elite controller.
90 Elite, that's it, which is like 90
like,
quid and has like changeable thumbsticks and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Paddles and
like
shit.
2 or 3 different versions of those now.
Normally, I think they do different like faceplates.
They do them like yearly, yeah.
Yeah, I think every console now has its own Pro controller that they can sell for like 150 quid. They're so expensive. They're insane.
Yeah. Just Sony have a Pro controller?
They
like
do,
a proper...
They
do,
do
they? I didn't know that.
Yeah, I can't remember what it's called. But they have something, and it's the same deal all the time, right? It's like you say, it's changeable triggers or remove the analog sticks to put arcade sticks in them or something. I don't know, whatever you want.
Well, it's not always the same deal because Nintendo's one is just what a normal controller should be. They don't have a Pro controller. Their Pro controller is just a basic normal controller.
Their Pro controller is a regular controller. Yeah.
If Nintendo did a Pro controller for 150 quid, it would still drift. I guarantee it would still have drift issues.
Still not happy about that.
Steve's got stick drift now on his controller, so
it's gone now, but it's like it's probably showing signs that it's gonna drift soon.
Yeah. But yeah, this new controller again looks like the old one, but it's got something I think is quite cool: lift to wake, which I don't think any controller has right now. I think it's like go for it.
I thought Series X controllers were supposed to do that. Was that like?
Maybe.
Did that never come to fruition? I swear I read that somewhere.
I've never used those controllers, and the fact that it's listed here as a thing, I assumed it was new.
Yeah. Fair enough.
Wait, so when you say lift to wake, that means that if you pick it up, it turns on?
It turns on, yeah. Like most mobile phones do that now.
I was going to say, mine doesn't, but I was going to say that's going to confuse so many parents. They'll be like trying to pick the controller up off the floor and vacuum, and then it will start beeping or something.
Yeah, aggressively beeping, yeah. It chucks you straight into a Call of Duty lobby.
I was cleaning your room and I bought $900 worth of V-Bucks earlier. Completely by accident.
Your master rank now, sorry. I don't really know what else to say about it. It's like it's a controller. They're saying there's a lot of cloud stuff like thrown into a lot of this. I think obviously that always seemed like the long game, right? Is tying all of this into cloud gaming. It has one of the features on this controller is direct to cloud, which I assume
like the Stadia stuff.
Yeah, it might mean something like say you're playing xCloud on a TV, without like an actual device.
Yeah.
You can buy one of these controllers and it will just connect somehow. I don't really know.
Yeah.
Because that's their long con. Not con, but that's what they want, right? They want you to buy a smart TV and it comes with Game Pass.
Yeah.
So that's the main bit there. You had, like I said, the refresh consoles. Looking like, again, provided nothing changes, looking to just replace current stock at the same price. Very cool. What else did we have? What else did they drop?
We had the
And
Bethesda
I saw
leaks.
they talked about a completely new console for like 2028 or something.
So you had, I might have to get a different article. No, here we go. So Microsoft's next Xbox envisioned for 2028. And
so far away.
Yeah, envisions hybrid computing. Again, the idea being that some stuff is just offloaded for cloud computing,
Yeah.
I think I can't remember where I read it, but a good example that someone was saying, like, to try and like explain what this is. If you play flight sim stuff, like flight sim games, the modern flight sims, apparently some of that game is just calculated as you play, because obviously you can fly anywhere.
Yeah. It's not. It doesn't load the entire world.
Exactly.
Like,
yeah.
You just get it as and when you need it.
Yeah. They don't. They don't program every single place on the entire Earth, because that's kind of insane. They just they do it all on the fly. More of that.
On the fly, I get it.
Oh, it's way smarter than I even realised. Thank you, Steve. There's lots of spec stuff thrown around here. I don't think it really means a lot to most people, even myself.
Yeah, I was gonna say that goes right over my head.
I like that thin OS bullet point though.
I
always find my operating systems too fat, and I'm happy we're finally looking for that.
Well, that's the interesting thing, which is like lacking thin OS for less than $99 consumer or handheld devices. I have no clue what that means. Supposedly it says
to someone.
The company imagined you playing these games using the combined power of a sub $99 gadget, possibly a handheld, and its xCloud platform simultaneously. What is that even?
Well, like a Stadia, where it's there's an option there to just stream. I have no idea, but like an option for most of it to be offloaded to the cloud, and then you just
so you have the box, you have Xbox 2028, but if you want to, at any point, you throw your new controller into your backpack and you play on your phone somewhere.
Yeah,
and it's all your Xbox turns on at home, goes beep beep to your internet, and you just play. On your phone or on whatever new device they have at this point. It's very interesting stuff. It's so weird to think this is so far in advance, and it's just out in the open.
They're just yeah.
There's some other stuff, again, just talking about. It's really in depth. I don't know how much you want to go into it, but there's stuff that you see on a lot of modern graphics cards, like DLSS and like AI upscaling, frame interpolation, things like that. A lot of these documents talk about that as well, or bits of it do. It's kind of interesting. It feels like it's like GPUs in particular feel like they're getting to a point where they get stronger every gen, but there's a lot more leaning on AI these days to do the bulk of like upscaling an image or interpolating frames, which I think is really interesting, because if it takes so much raw power to render, say, like Cyberpunk at 4K high frame rate, if you can just use AI to up-res the image and you can't notice, does it even matter? Like, who cares?
Yeah.
See, I thought the AI would be like, for people with no friends, it would be like a player 2 for them.
That would be cool. I mean, we've said that before, right? About you joke, but like the future of multiplayer is playing against bots that you can't tell aren't human.
And that would be Cortana. Cortana's
you win
is
every
she's
time.
your AI partner for COD.
No, Will, you don't win every time. You win the exact number of times you need to make you pay.
To keep you engaged. Yeah. Sorry.
I laugh, but it all sounds.
Plausible.
Plausible.
It already happens. Like we played some Fortnite that one time, and we had that big. We were like, bots or children? We can't. I can't
that.
tell already.
We should play Fortnite again.
Nope, that's not the takeaway. I was going for that.
I just loved. Yeah, I feel like when we did play Fortnite, my fun was was having so much fun until I realized they were bots. So if you children. So I just feel like if you could hide that, there's something there, right?
Yeah,
it's kind of gross, but it's also kind of cool. Yeah, a bunch more tech stuff. Blah blah. The main takeaway is shock horror. There's a new Xbox coming at some point. The shock horror is that you shouldn't know about it. That's why it feels juicy, right? It's like, oh.
Wait, hold up. What's that picture that you've got on the screen?
Yes,
there like it's got Joy-Cons.
So I was about to say, this last bit here is just them talking about some kind of mobile controller or mobile controller. There's a so it's the image for audio listeners. There's almost one that's like Joy-Cons for a Switch. Again, I assume you could, attach to your mobile or something.
Yeah.
There's also a one-handed controller, I guess, based on what game you're playing. If you just spare a hand, I don't know. It's almost like a Wiimote, right? Or something like that.
What do you mean? What game you're playing?
Use your imagination, Steve. It almost looks like it looks like it would be tiny. I don't know. It's just mock-ups, right? Well, that's a very pixely image. It's like they're like mock-ups. But I don't. What would you use? What would? Okay, jokes aside, what would you use a one-handed controller for? Like mouse-only input games?
Could be. Who knows what mad shit they were on when they were coming up with this? Could be an accessibility thing. Could be.
That's true. Yeah. Could be anything.
Yeah, I don't know. It could be like a Joy-Con thing, like you said, where you can just. Hey, it's just a little. If the game doesn't have complex inputs, that you don't need them, then what are you going to carry around a controller for?
I think it'll be for Halo.
Yeah,
that's what Halo needs. A one-handed controller mode.
To be fair, I've always stood by the fact that I think the Wiimote and nunchuck controls were better for FPSs than a controller.
You're insane.
Not as good as PC and not PC, keyboard and mouse. But I do think that Wiimote was great for FPSs.
Yeah, because remember all those really good Wii shooters?
Look, Red Steel was fucking awesome, okay?
I played COD on Wii with a Wii, and it was not good. It did not feel good.
We joked about that, I think, like 30 episodes ago, because we were Googling Black Ops on the Wii, and the images were the grainiest, chunkiest, cursed images ever.
I just remember, I didn't play it much because I just remember being like, why are the dogs attacking me?
What else did we get? So that's, so new console coming. What else did we get? We had the big lineup of leaked games.
Yes.
So a whole bunch of
Dishonored 3. Just they stealthily announced Dishonored 3.
Well, so
nuts.
So here's the thing. These ones are really odd. So the games we're about to go through, the timeline for these games releasing, I believe, is part of the stuff that came out for like 2020. So again, it's like COVID, optimism.
Okay.
So Oblivion remaster set for 2022 obviously didn't happen, right?
But I've heard that there was already a rumor that was coming. So
I've heard that as well.
A bit more plausible.
Yeah, so the ones that were outlined, I'll leave the dates out because the dates are kind of irrelevant now. But an Oblivion remaster, something referred to as Doom Year Zero, with some DLC for it, a Fallout 3 remaster, a sequel to Ghostwire Tokyo, and Dishonored 3. Those are the bigger ones. There's some big stuff there. There's also a whole bunch of projects, like code names for games. Which don't mean anything. But yeah, those what I just listed, those are the biggies. I think Dishonored 3 is the one that seems to catch most people.
Yeah.
Yes.
Fallout 3 remaster though.
I guess. Like,
yeah, bro, Fallout 3.
Okay. Can you not just mod Fallout 3 to basically be a remaster?
There are probably 4K texture packs at this point, but it's nice. It's nice when it's official, isn't it?
I guess, yeah. Or be on
it's one of those
console
things
stuff as well,
though, where it's like, yes, you probably can heavily mod it, but if people were given the chance, like me for Fallout 3, and if it said Fallout New Vegas, people would absolutely eat that up, regardless of whether you could mod it.
Well,
yeah,
it is interesting they hit up Oblivion and Fallout 3, but there's no mention of New Vegas in there anywhere, which feels a bit like a leave out, you know?
Would it be Fallout New Vegas?
Yeah.
Fallout New Vegas New.
Squared Vegas.
New Fallout New Vegas
Vegas.
Two Fallout 2 Vegas. There you go.
Yeah, we got it. We got there in the end.
It's just Vegas in all caps. It's the true sequel. I don't know. I feel like Fallout 3 is the easier get, right? It's a numbered game. I know Fallout New Vegas has like cult following, cult classic status.
I bet New Vegas is more popular than 3.
You reckon?
I have no data to back that up, but I bet that's true.
New Vegas was, but like Fallout 3 came first, right? So it was the first good one, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Get in the comments if you liked Fallout 3 or New Vegas better.
I have this argument with Matt a lot because I'm a Fallout 3 guy. I love New Vegas. But if you have to make me choose, it's Fallout 3 easily. But Matt will forever be New Vegas.
Yeah.
I have finished Fallout 3. I have not finished New Vegas. That's how I make my decision. For whatever reason, back in the day when they were out, I finished one, didn't finish the other. There must have been a reason. So I would go Fallout 3, even though probably like isn't New Vegas is more known for like better writing and storytelling.
Yeah, because it wasn't Bethesda.
Because Bethesda can't.
They can't write stories to save their life. Anyway,
10 million downloads of Starfield. Yeah, I want to know what Doom Year Zero is. That sounds cool. Like, what the hell is Doom Year Zero? I'm always up for more Doom. And Dishonored 3, I haven't really played the others. But no doubt it would be good. From what I understand, if you kind of base what I base this off of, in the original list of unannounced games at the time, I think they had Starfield slated for 2021. So I guess like extrapolating from that, this doesn't mean this is not scientific, doesn't mean anything, but I guess you could kind of add 2 years onto these dates if you want a bit of copium. For
2026 for Dishonored 3, like that makes sense. Like Redfall exists, and they've said they're going to support it. So there's probably there's going to be a little grace period there, right, where they flail around with that for a bit before canceling it.
I had to pretend to be doing work on Redfall before. I feel like doing work on Redfall either as like artists or programmers, where it must be kind of both a cushy job and like a scary job, because you could get let go at any point, right? Because it's Redfall, but also it's kind of chill because like you're making stuff for like Redfall, like 50 people care, I guess, that are playing it probably.
I mean, it's harsh, but I know what you mean. But like, but I don't think that's true. I don't think it would be fun to work on a game that is like almost universally panned.
Yeah,
that's got to be. It's got to be quite miserable, right?
Yeah.
So that's trying to think if there's anything else as part of this whole thing. We've done the new games, new consoles, new controller.
The Nintendo leak.
Oh, so there's not much about that, right? It's just him saying like, one day I hope during my career I can buy Nintendo for Microsoft. That's it, right?
Wasn't it like he was also saying that like, oh, Nintendo doesn't, you're just sitting on money at the moment, or because your shareholders don't do anything?
I must have missed that. Is it that juicy? I must have completely missed that part of it. All I saw was an email. I saw was an email of him saying about how, not like what you just said, but him saying that any sort of like theoretical purchase of Nintendo is insanely complicated because they have a literal war chest of hundreds of millions that they just like sit on. Basically, I don't know why. It's just they just have all this money from the Wii, and then it went down a little bit because of Wii U, and then it basically doubled again from the Switch because the Switch has done so well.
Yeah.
So Nintendo, I don't think. Okay, Microsoft have insane money. They could buy Nintendo. Like Microsoft is what, like $1 trillion company at this point.
Yeah, it's like different ballparks, right?
Yeah. But I get also all the stuff about it being complicated.
Although I imagine now Microsoft probably couldn't buy Nintendo after the Blizzard stuff. Could you imagine, like, it was like, oh, we struggled to buy Blizzard, but now we want to buy Nintendo?
Yeah, there's no way I feel like that would go
I
through.
see what you mean.
There's other stuff as well. In the email I read, it was Phil Spencer saying that Microsoft just outright buying Nintendo isn't a good business decision either, just for the fact that it doesn't look good for the company, right? And that's just a weird thing to like say, but that doesn't build good faith, I guess, in the industry if one of the three giants just buys the other one. So I think you have to be careful, right? As a businessman, Phil Spencer, he's not stupid, right? You can't just keep buying everything forever, because then you become literally like a cyberpunk villain. you become the guy at the top of the Millennium Tower in a Yakuza game, like just looking down and laughing at the city.
Lord, yeah, you should own everything. Yeah.
It's not good long term. It's good short term, but it's terrible long term.
Also, there's so many governing bodies that would never let that happen. Like
until you buy them.
Until I guess, but maybe that's it. Maybe that's the next play.
Yeah.
I don't know why this is totally off topic, but when you said Phil Spencer's not stupid, I just had the image of him sending off these documents to the FTC, and but he, instead of like redacting it properly, he's got like a marker and he's marking on his computer screen, being like, redacting the computer screen, like, oh, it's done now, I can send it off.
He hit highlight instead of redact.
I thought you were gonna say like it's Phil Spencer in his office and he just CCs all his entire address book with all these FTC documents. He hits the button, it's just like, shit.
He sent it to like ftc.com instead of .org or something, and it's just gone to some random dude's email. My bad, but it is Friday, so I'm just gonna go home. I'll fix it tomorrow. Yeah, this was such a weird thing to wake up to. Because I think the first thing I saw of any of this was you talked about it, Steve, in our group chat. And I was like, oh, I'll look this up later. Like, I'm busy right now. I think I was at work or something. And then fast forward like an hour, and all the news things I follow are like, Jesus Christ. What is going on?
Yeah.
So that's all the news
it's fun.
stuff.
It's a fun look behind the curtain, though, right? Like, I feel like that's the side of this kind of big business that you really rarely get to see. And like him talking frankly about like, we're gonna beat Sony here, we've got the better product here, sort of thing, and like we're not gonna, him talking about like Baldur's Gate and being like, no, I don't think we need to get this for Game Pass or whatever.
He called Baldur's Gate like he called it a second-class CRPG for Stadia or something.
But no, that was like when it very first debuted, and it was going to be a Stadia exclusive or something.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I will say the downside is that now every single Microsoft announcement show, people are going to be like, "Where's Dishonored 3?" Like. People know what they want and are just going to be spamming for.
Some people were like that already, Steve.
I mean, yes, but now it's going to be like unhinged levels.
Is it slightly concerning how there aren't more game leaks from this? Do you think?
Maybe.
Considering it's such a long time frame, it's like, here's Doom, and here's Dishonored, and Ghostwire Tokyo. See you in 2028.
Was this releases or was this projects being started?
It might have been like new. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, I don't know exactly what it is.
Because otherwise, surely Starfield would have been on this list if it was releases. Right?
It was.
It was.
The list I've got here isn't the full one, but Starfield was. Yeah,
right, I see.
Starfield was on the list for 2021.
I was gonna say maybe this was like maybe Bethesda were just like, here's our plans for the next 5 years, and other Xbox games like, here's our plan for like 2 years. And
this is in relation to them buying. All this stuff would have been evidence.
That's true. Yes, so it's just Bethesda.
So most of it is probably focused on Bethesda, which was their last big acquisition, and showing like, no, look, it's not that big a deal if we just buy Activision. Okay, look, see, Bethesda's not doing anything.
Yeah, that makes sense. So, what you're telling me is Perfect Dark reboot is safe, right?
Still on the cards, yeah. Well, because there'd be some kind of I imagine Halo would be featured at least a little. Halo, Forza, Gears. The Gears guys are doing something.
That's true. Yeah, you got Forza coming out in like a month.
That.
Yeah,
exactly. Yeah.
Just forget about it. Oops.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's everything basically. I recommend if anyone is interested about like a deeper dive into this, because we've kind of done like the service of it. This is everywhere. Any like your favorite news conglomerate, go have a look. It's all over the front page. It's all there. It's interesting stuff. It is very interesting. Like Will said, to pull the curtain back, and do that. So, bit of a mix up, starting with a new story, but it just made sense to go into it. So let's do some game stuff. We've got you on the show, Steve. First time in a while. What have you been doing?
I came back specifically to talk about Pokemon DLC that came out.
That is Hidden Treasure of Area Zero, right?
Yes, this is part 1, which is the Teal Mask. It does like this DLC is heavily being so like it's you can't buy like the individual part, you have to buy both the parts, so you have to buy part 1 and part 2.
Oh really?
Yes, apparently. I think. And all the marketing has been very much like it's showing both DLCs, even though like part 1 is now and part 2 is winter. So it's probably going to be 2024. Yeah, they are.
Oh wow, that far away.
Heavily, well, they said winter. So I assume it's going to be next year. But they are. The messaging for this DLC has been, look how much there is, because it's showing both parts. And this DLC, I think for most people will be lacking, unfortunately. So this DLC, from a casual point of view, if you're just like, I play Pokemon the one time and then I'm done.
That would be me. That's how I play them.
This one by itself is not gonna quench your thirst.
Damn.
Unfortunately, the story is great. I will say, like it's its own little sub story, and it definitely is a part 1 of 2. Like it definitely ends on like there's more to come. But it is pretty interesting. Like the characters that they introduce are have very big personalities, and the story is interesting. But unfortunately for me, an interesting story only goes so far when it doesn't have voice acting.
So I watched you stream this. I didn't watch all of your stream. I watched what I could, and what caught me by surprise is I saw some cutscenes that were almost like just sketches, it didn't come across to me as almost like a design choice. It looked like cheap. I don't know. I was like, this is flagship Pokemon again, and even after all the controversy of Scarlet and Violet, I would have thought maybe they would have really put their best foot forward for the DLC. Well,
this DLC is Japanese inspired, so it is meant to be like old Japan like inspired. So the sketchy stuff is meant to be like, scroll, like looking like it's on a scroll or whatnot. So I think it is a intentional design choice.
Okay. It just seemed, I don't know. It seemed
it could have been better, but it's Pokemon.
I'm already on I'm on the defense already like my guard is up with Pokemon because of like Scarlet Violet.
Yeah.
So is it not? It's not. It doesn't carry on the like level of quality it's of the base game. It's like like they have less resources to throw around or something.
No. This one does feel good. Like it. So what Josh is talking about is they have just normal like cutscenes. Like characters talking, but they do like story sections where it's like there's lore. Like this is ancient lore from 500 years ago. And that stuff is told via like a scroll.
Oh right. Oh, so it's just like a choice.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, so the story's good. The Pokemon that they've returned with are okay. Unfortunately, they're nice. Unfortunately, in the overworld, a lot of them are very, very tiny. So navigating the world is like, I've run into a Pokemon I couldn't see because it's so small on the map. The size of the DLC is about like a quarter of the main map. So it's pretty sizable, but it's not a whole second Scarlet and Violet like size map.
Yeah.
Competitively, this game it's added some really good stuff, but yeah, it just feels like it was over very quickly, and there wasn't much to this. They added like a mini game, like a mini game where you ride around on your Pokemon and pop balloons, but yeah, there wasn't too much where I'm like super duper like this, and I highly recommend this. I think though when it might be better when part 2 comes out and we get like a whole nother area, and that one looks a bit more in depth and more detail.
Poor Pokemon fans, man.
Yeah.
Just like
I mean, it's
leading. Just new feature is running around popping balloons.
Yeah, I was gonna say I've enjoyed it. I'm still enjoying it, but I'm like, I basically after one day I was like done.
Did you hit any kind of credits or like to be continued on your first day?
Yes, I hit the story point where it was like there. I did all the side options. I caught all the Pokemon on the first day, so I finished the second dex because this is
on the first day.
On the first day, I mean, I also had Pokemon home, so I could transfer some.
Oh, okay. How many did they add?
Yeah.
Oh, right.
They added 2. Well, the new dex is 200, but they added some of them were Pokemon that were already in the game. They technically for brand new Pokemon they added 1, 2, 3,
like
4,
10,
5, 6, 7, 8. 8, yeah. Which 4 of them are legendaries. 1 is a unique form Pokemon, and then 2 are basically new, like new basic Pokemon. And honestly, it was just it's good, but it's definitely a part 1, unfortunately. And they did also. This did come with a patch, and to be honest, the thing I was most excited about with the patch was when you're scrolling through your boxes, there's no longer any lag, so you can actually see instantly.
I saw a lot of people
box 1 to 2
being like, I think all the comments for like Pokemon DLC is out today. All the top comments were, they fixed the lag on the boxes. And I was like, oh.
And it's like, yeah, it took a DLC patch to fix it. They couldn't do this beforehand. No, it had to wait till now.
So I'm going to ask,
but you don't have to buy that. That's like included, right?
Yeah,
that's for everyone. Yeah.
So I'm going to ask the $1 million question.
Mm-hmm.
How is the performance compared to the base game?
In the base game, for me, I didn't really have too many performance issues. There was some areas that really lagged out. In this DLC, I think they've learned not to overcrowd certain areas, so it runs pretty well. I've not had any graphical issues. I've seen some online. There are some issues, and apparently they're doing another patch in October to fix them, because there's a bug at the moment where if you fought too many trainers, you can't finish some of the side quests because it does after 300 trainers that you've battled, it doesn't register new victories, so you can't finish some quests that require like 8 specific trainers in battles and stuff. But yeah, it's running well. But I also didn't have too much of an issue with the base Scarlet and Violet.
Damn.
So
it just sounds really average.
It does, and also there's a couple of version exclusives, but they're like the older lines, and it's not that good. I think for the next DLC there are versions exclusives coming, like legendary, so you will need to buy both versions then if you are
No
wanting to collect them
way.
all. Yeah, I believe the um the old, because I think it's like old Raikou and new Kabalion are like, the futuristic Kabalion and the past Raikou are legendaries, and like because of the paradox Pokemon, like Scarlet is based on the past and Violet is based on the future. They're probably going to do version
So
exclusive.
you're telling me if you want to complete your decks as much as you can when all this is said and done, you have to buy 2 copies of the game and 2 copies of both parts of the DLC because you can't buy the parts separately.
There's a good chance, yes, but it's not been 100% confirmed.
That is mad. If that goes through, that is mad.
Also, data miners have fully, like, pretty much data mined what the next DLC is and all of that already. I saw something online, like it's like, oh, you did a good job scrubbing everything, but you left everything up in a notepad document in the DLC.
We've sent it straight to the FTC as well.
That's pretty funny. Yeah. Phil Spencer again. He's got hold of it. Yeah. He's a menace.
Yeah. Oh, could you? Okay, so as opposed to buying Scarlet and Violet and DLC for Scarlet and DLC for Violet to do everything, could you just trade it all from someone else?
You can trade it all, and what people do now is they have, because to trade online with anyone you have to put in like a code that you. So what people do now is there are specific numbered codes that you could put in. Say you wanted to trade your Violet legendary for the Scarlet legendary. There's a specific code you put in, and then you just hope that the other person has Scarlet and you have Violet, and that you can trade. So there are people, Pokemon fans have workarounds.
Okay.
To do all of this.
Oh, I just be better, Pokemon.
Yeah,
please.
I'm at the same. I'm enjoying it. From a competitive standpoint, it's like, oh yeah, this is good, but yeah, they could do better.
Is this the first? No. There was DLC for the previous ones, wasn't there?
There was DLC for Sword and Shield, yes. And this, I will say, this people are saying this is definitely a marked improvement over the first DLC for Sword and Shield. But yeah,
I remember that. What was the DLC for Sword and Shield?
It was the Isle of Armor and then the Crown Tundra.
Oh, I completely no. I do remember that. It had some Ryu from Street Fighter looking dog thing.
Yeah, Urshifu, yeah.
Urshifu.
The fairy's wet dream.
I heard that, Will. That was good.
Thanks, man.
Any really important points you wanted to get out there about Pokemon, or are you happy to move on?
I'm happy to move on. I'm just like at this point. I'm waiting for the next part of the DLC. I think, as I said, the story is really good so far. So I'm excited to see where it goes.
I hope it goes on offer one day in 2 years or something. I can just pick it up really cheap and just blast through it.
No, it's going to be on certain key selling websites probably. For
cheap, that's true. Yeah. That'll happen at some point.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll chuck it along then. Another game that we've all been playing this week is Sea of Stars, which I'll
not me,
not you. I feel like who started this? Was it Will and me at the same time? I think.
I don't know because I can't, because I think we were both kind of sick of Starfield, right?
Yes.
And then I think you mentioned something like, I'm just going to chill on Sea of Stars or something instead. And I was like, oh yeah, that is on Game Pass as well, isn't it? I'll just go play that instead. And then, something in the back of my mind when I was looking for something to do post Starfield, and I saw that pop up, and I was like, oh yeah, I'll give that a go.
Sea of Stars for me was a game that I kept seeing sort of trailers for at Nintendo Directs, and this, that, and the other sort of dotted around. And it was always like, that looks cool. It'll probably be like a cool little indie RPG. And it was coming to Game Pass. That's cool. And then it came out in the middle of a bunch of other games. I think we were just busy again with Starfield and other stuff, and reviews dropped, and this game was just apparently insanely good.
Yeah,
which we'll get onto in a minute. But just, I was kind of, I'm not sure I was shocked, but I was surprised at how good this game was apparently, compared to my expectations that I had.
Yeah.
But yeah, Sam, myself, and Will have all been playing this. I'll take a little bit of a backseat in this conversation if you two want to talk about it a little bit. Which one of you two wants to just set the stage as to what this game actually is? Because a lot of people might not actually know what this is.
All right. What this game is kind of a very old school RPG, right? All pixel art, top down, you go on adventures and stuff. But it's got like enough fun modern stuff that can keep people like me with TikTok brains fully engaged. So it's like your classic, you walk around, you explore like an overworld. It's very story driven, and the story's pretty good, the writing's pretty good. It's all written, there's no like voice acting or anything, it's all done in like pixel art. And then when you get into combat, everything it's your classic turn-based JRPG kind of combat, except everything you do has a little mini game to it, sort of like Paper Mario RPG kind of stuff.
Yeah, I think
like
of there's Mario. Is it Mario and Luigi like Partners in Time and the games like that one, DS and GBA. Like you say, it's also very Paper Mario, but it reminds me a lot more of those GBA and DS Mario RPGs.
Yeah, I think I meant that. I just said Paper Mario because I was thinking.
Oh, sorry.
Because they just announced one of those, didn't they? So it's like that. So like very early on, you get one of your characters has what's the move? It's called like Moonerang or something.
Yeah.
And it's this like she throws this little projectile and it hits an enemy and bounces back to her. And then if you get the timing right, she deflects it and it bounces off to hit another person, and it gets faster and faster until you can't keep up. Although, did you guys get the achievement for
25?
25.
Yeah.
25 bounces. Yeah.
I have with that little mini game where it goes backwards, forwards, and you deflect it. There, I have had, I think, maybe 2 or 3 individual times where I thought I had reached like a limit where it has said no more. Like that's the end now. But I keep getting past it occasionally, and I'm like, oh my god, it's going so. I've just done like 400 damage or something. My highest before was like 150 or something, because I'm just like at the end of it, I'm just like mashing X and it's going.
I've had that where I reached like a flow state, and I'm just like, oh, and like Erin sat next to me, and she's like, sounds like you're just really mad at this game. I'm like, Erin, I'm achieving enlightenment.
Do you know that one skill as well? I either get like 30 hits or I get like 4 because it's so slow. I fuck up the early ones.
yeah. But yeah, that's basically the game. The story is like your solstice warriors. You're basically
warriors.
Like sun or moon themed, and you're born on the solstice or whatever, which gives you sun or moon powers. And there's a big bad who can only be killed by sun or moon people. And there's like there's like a supporting cast who are pretty good. You start off as like a little trio of you've got your like normal friend who comes with you on your journey, and I so thought they were setting him up to be a villain, but he's just like the nicest guy.
Yeah.
We haven't finished it. It might still happen.
I guess it could still happen.
I can't see it. True. I can't see it happening, but
his superpower is he can basically make friends with everyone.
Yeah. And it's cool, and it's got some like mild position based combat where like
if you've ever played
sometimes
Chrono
it'll
Trigger,
be
it's very Chrono Trigger.
Because like some moves will have like splash damage, and sometimes it'll be like classic you on one side, enemy team on the other side, and you're trading hits. But sometimes it'll be like, oh, you're surrounded. So like if you have a splash damage move, it's like, well, it's not going to hit any of them. But then one of your characters has like a throw where they can just toss an enemy to the other side, so you can like group them up and then hit them. It's like just little touches like that where I find. I'm sorry, Sam. I find like normal JRPG combat very unengaging at this point. It's not like I don't hate. It's not bad, but I just recognize that it's not for me. But there was like enough here where I was constantly like every time I got a new move or a combo, I was just like, "Oh, that's fun. I like this." And it's just so many little bits they keep adding to the combat, which just makes it keeps it feeling fresh, even if you're just fighting. Like trash mobs.
Well, you also have,
I think...
if you want to explain it, Sam, there's one more system which I feel is really important to the combat, which is the lock system, I think it's called. Which, do you want to explain what that is, Sam? It's when you can break enemies' upcoming moves. So
basically, enemies have either their auto attack or like their special move, and some enemies will have multiple special moves. But whenever they're going to do a special move, they have to like charge it up, and then they get a ton of symbols basically, and you have to hit them with the damage type that is like akin to that symbol. So if they get like 3 moons and a sun, you need to hit them with lunar damage 3 times and once with sun, like solar damage. And it like breaks it, and it'll be melee, but it'll be like sword. So you got to hit him with the sword, or you got to hit him with the staff. Yeah. And basically, it's just try and like break as much as you can, because if you break all of them, it just stops their turn. It like stuns them. But if you don't do it in time, but you break a lot of them, they do a lot less damage. Like their power goes down. But there's also another thing to note is some enemy special moves, I found it's actually more beneficial to just let them
I found that,
do their thing.
There was
their auto attacks hit so much harder than their special attacks.
One specifically that I got whilst I was playing today is some skeleton boy whose special attack would put you in a bubble that did like 10 damage. Or he would just shoot you with an auto attack for like 30.
Oh, yeah.
And I was like, yeah, and I was like, I'm just going to let you shoot me. I'm just going to let you use the special, because the shooting me does way more.
Yeah.
I love that whole lock system. I think it's such a cool little, almost like a puzzle element mid-fight.
Yeah.
Where you think, right, like... the bigger ones where... The screenshot here has 4 of them, and it's quite simple. It's 3 moons and a sun. But certain bosses or certain enemies will have sometimes up to 10. Probably more later in the game. And it's like, right, I obviously can't stop what he's doing within 2 turns. But what do I have available to me right now that I can I use to mitigate as much of its damage as possible? Because the more icons you remove, the less powerful the attack is. Not always, but most of the time that's how it works.
Yeah.
I just think it's great. I really like it.
Yeah. And there'd be a couple times where I would think I'd be doing a boss and I'm like, oh, that's impossible. Like, you can't stop that. That's impossible. And then like, I'd be like 4 or 5 turns later, that move would come up again, and I'd be like, oh, if these 2 combo and I use this infusion, I can totally make that. I can just about do it. And it's like, it reminds me of Into the Breach, where it's like every turn is like most of the time I can't stop everything, but it's like what do I want to let happen, and what versus what like has to not happen sort of thing.
Yeah.
Every turn is like that, and it's really fun.
I think the MP system just lends itself so well to that. Of like what you generate 3 MP, maybe it goes up later on, it hasn't for me yet. But you generate 3 MP every auto attack. You also generate an orb that you can use to like enhance your other skills.
Yeah.
Every time you auto attack. Yeah. And basically because you're always generating these resources, you're spending those resources, which make combat just a blast.
Yeah.
Because you're never just like, oh, well, I need to just auto attack through this because I don't want to, there might be a boss soon. I don't want to use all my stuff and have nothing for the boss. It's like, no, just, don't go all out, but manage it. Use maybe half of what you got, and then recover it, and then use it, and then recover it, and
yeah.
That's what I find really interesting, is because it's almost like the fights are like a puzzle, as opposed to just random encounters that I'm doing in a JRPG as I'm going through. It's like in this fight here, the enemies are completely surrounding me, but they're not bunched up, and it's this enemy, this type of enemy. How do I beat this encounter as efficiently as possible? And I think what kind of cements it to me in my head that it's more like this sort of puzzle thing as opposed to just random battles is how every fight is in the world. Specifically, it's not like, JRPG screen flash white taken to a battle.
Yeah.
It's like, no, it's almost like you're going through a set of combat puzzles as you traverse this normally like linear-ish level.
Yeah.
And what keeps them interesting, especially during the longer boss fights, is the way combat works is, again, you have your 3 party members, but you can choose whatever order you want them to attack in. So there's no like speed system or anything. It's like, okay, no, all 3 of your people are available, and it's your turn to go. Who do you want to use? Okay, use this person. And then the enemy's timer ticks down. Okay, you got 2 left. Who do you want to use next? And once you've used all 3, you then get all 3 of them back. And what makes the lock system really interesting is they can start charging up a move that needs to be broken when like 1 or 2 of your party members are just unavailable. Or, oh shit, you haven't got mana this turn to, use the move to help break this lock. Like, you can see the solution to the puzzle, but you're not ready for it. So it's like, okay, next time I know if he's going to start doing this, I need to be ready with this much mana for this move, or I need Garl to be ready during this move. So I'm not going to use him now because I might need him in a second. Things like that. I feel like I'm always thinking when I'm playing this game, and the difficulty feels really balanced. I feel like it's not a pushover. It's not insanely hard. It's just challenging enough.
I
think I feel really smart when
fights are balanced. Boss fights are a little bit like, some bosses are actually like, okay, I need to like sit down, sweat, and think. And other boss fights, I feel like you could just auto attack through. Some of them have been very hit or miss.
Yeah, I was gonna say I feel maybe it's just the way because there is like character leveling up, and you do kind of softly build your character stats. It's not, they get like a lot of bonuses, and then you pick like between 1 of 4 like little extra bonuses.
Yeah.
And I was gonna say, for me, I haven't run into a boss yet that I haven't beaten in one go, but I have run into several encounters where I've just been like, like not even like I've been like low on, but I've like, one guy hasn't had like enough MP to do a skill like that I need right at the start, and it's just like, no, now this guy is gonna do his move. It hits your whole party for like 40 damage each, and I'm like, oh fuck, okay, I need to reload. This is impossible with this setup. And that's happened to me, not a lot, but like enough where it got to a point where I was starting to be like, I just kind of need to be on near max resources for every fight, just in case sometimes you'll walk up to like one guy on patrol, and then it'll transition to combat, and it's like, oh, actually there was just 4 guys hiding in the bush. And like, you're fucked.
So with my leveling, I've literally gone, if HP is an option, I take it.
Oh, maybe that's where I've gone wrong.
And
I was going for like defensive stuff.
Yeah, see, I've taken no offense or defense so much as I've gone health. I've gone MP, because just having more resource pool is just good.
Makes sense.
And then just whatever. And I think that's maybe easy mode. I'm not sure, because the game has gotten easier the more I play it.
Yeah.
But there was one boss fight which was like, did its big move, I couldn't stop it doing it, but I got it down to 60% power, and it did 80 damage to my entire party, and my max health was 90. And I was like, I did everything I could there and almost wiped.
Yeah.
Like,
I early on, I got the trick that if a boss is doing a big move but infrequently, you can always have enough combo points to do that big party heal.
That's
kind
what
of
I do.
what I
Yeah.
relied on. Yeah.
I end every normal combat with that party heal pretty much.
Yeah, that's a fun when you're like trying to game the system almost. So you're trying to get enough combo points to heal your entire party right at the end of combat, so you don't have to do it with food outside of combat or resting. But like not doing enough damage that you kill the enemy before you turn. I've had a couple moments like that where I'm like, please don't die, I need to heal after I hit you.
No, it's good. It genuinely makes me think. Some fights you do just kind of like, I've beaten this setup before. Let's do this.
Yeah, but it never lingers on one like type of combat for.
I feel like I've
long.
I've never fought the same enemy or the same group of enemies like more than maybe 4 times in a row, maybe at stretch 5. It's like, okay, you've beat these guys up now. You're probably at the end of the dungeon.
Exactly. It's like right when you get to the trick of how to beat this enemy, like you've got the timing on how to parry their attacks, and like, oh, he's going to throw out his big move next, so I need to save some sword hits. And it's like right when you get to that point, it like switches it up, and you just go somewhere else with completely new enemies, and you got to learn it all over again. It's pretty fun.
I've been massively surprised by this game. Not massively. I knew it was good. Reeve said it was really good, but.
I mean, I thought I wasn't going to like this game because I just couldn't get into Chrono Trigger. And when I look at it, all I see is Chrono Trigger.
Yeah.
Which isn't a bad thing considering how many people love that game. But just because I personally can't get into it, I was like, well, if I can't get into that, what's the chances I get into this? But
Chrono Trigger is also really old at this point, which isn't always a bad thing. I can't get into it.
You see, I had the opposite, whereas I played Chrono Trigger on DS like I think like 4 or 5 years ago, and I thought it really held up for an old RPG. I was like, oh, there's some stuff that even modern JRPGs don't do in here. That surprises me that you couldn't get into it.
Sometimes it's systems, sometimes it's graphics, but if it just doesn't grab you, it gripes you. You know what I mean? Like, you either like it or you don't. You never get dead center.
Yeah, especially big RPGs where it's going to be a big
it's a commitment.
Time commitment. Yeah, and I'm like, I just don't, especially I don't have time, and I don't want to get into it. But
Sea of Stars for me has, I feel like, pushed from the game where I was like, this is really cool. Don't know if I'll finish it because again, big time commitment for an RPG. But I think I'll see this through now. I'm really enjoying it still, even though I'm like 10 hours in or something. I'm still really enjoying it.
I'd be curious if this kind of quality holds up, because it is an indie studio, and it was kickstarted, right? It was a Kickstarter.
I believe so. Yeah.
Yes.
So I'm curious. I'll be curious to see if, because I feel like a lot with these RPGs, they kind of get made in order of game, right? If that makes sense.
What do you mean?
So like they work really hard on the first island because that's where they start.
That's the trailer for the Kickstarter.
And that's where people are going to be playing their like early access game, right? Early access. And sometimes I feel like these games kind of take their foot off the pedal as they get further in to them. But it hasn't happened so far. If anything, the quality's getting better now that it's, because I still, JRPGs for me, the beginning where it's doing the introduction of every single character, and I'm still just like,
I will say with this,
it doesn't grab me, but
the intro to this game for me, I thought was a bit of a slog. It's a really slow intro of.
Really, I thought it was pretty quick.
I'm not sure if it just felt slow, but the whole prologue of now their children go up to the Sky School. What was that noise in the night? Oh, the creep around. It's like, oh god, I kind of want to just do like a fight. The fight you showed me earlier was really cool.
It is weirdly paced where you start off the characters as they are in the real game. You'd go through like a mini tutorial where you're doing a little climb up a cliff, and then your characters sit down and go like, hey, remember when we were kids and did training? And then it's like, what, bam, they're kids, and you gotta go through the whole tutorial again, except they're children, and you got to do. And I thought that was a bit. It's like I thought it was going to be like a little flashback cutscene, but no, it's like a good hour of gameplay, and then it just cuts back to them and be like, "Well, yeah, good old days. Anyway, let's get on with our adventure."
Let's go do the actual story that we were doing.
Yeah, it is a bit weird, but I think I'm with Sam. It didn't bother me that much.
I found it. I found it a bit slow. I found it a bit slow.
I got massive Breath of Fire 4 vibes because that game starts with you like infiltrating this place, and then you like flashback to like show your journey there, and then that game is literally the next 15 hours is you just playing the game from level 1, going through the story until you get to where you are, and it kind of it starts the game giving you this sense of urgency and then flashbacks you. So that's how I felt, and I was like, I don't know, maybe just positive memories of that game. I thought positively here, but.
Yeah, it didn't bother me. It was a bit weirdly paced, but I thought it was fine.
Trying to think what else to say.
It's got a Gwent. It's got its own Gwent.
It's got its own
wheels. It's gambling, and it's awesome. I really like it.
I finally fully figured out how the system goes.
Yeah.
I don't like how not in your favor some of the games are. I'll be doing a champion game against someone. I've just done one on a certain island. And this guy, he's just got triples of everything. So every round, he's getting, 2 or 3 triples. And I'm like, my selection of things that I spin the wheel on doesn't change, as far as I can tell.
For anyone watching the video version, if you're watching the video right now, this is what it looks like. I've got it on screen. It's like a mini game that you can play. It's just, easiest way to describe it, I guess, it's just like slot machines, but also mitigating randomness by locking in your wheels in between the turns, and you level up your units to attack the opponent's base.
It's a bit like competitive Yahtzee would be. I guess is how I describe
Yahtzee is a really good way of describing what this is.
Yeah.
It's fun though. It's a good time. It's interesting enough, I found.
It's fun. Neat little mini game.
What else? Graphics are really nice. It's
got lots of platforming, and it feels good. That's the weird thing to me.
Yeah.
Because a lot of RPGs like this, they're on like a grid, sort of soft grid, right?
I know what you mean. Yeah.
Yeah, you know what I'm talking about. And this has like grappling hooks and platforming and shit like that, and it feels pretty good.
The game feels 10 times better when you get that grapple hook, just for getting in and out of combat and jumping around.
Yeah.
And it's quite far in. It's like 6-7 hours in or something.
I was struggling to get the the initiate combat with an auto
I know
attack.
what you mean. Yeah.
I could not figure out the timing, and then you get that grapple hook, and you're like, oh baby.
Yeah, that's how you're supposed to do it. Yeah.
yeah.
I think the graphics are kind of, the pixel art is, I don't know how to describe it. It's kind of chunky, I guess. The character sprites are really big on the screen. Yeah, the character sprites are quite big on the screen, which I really like. It feels quite zoomed in.
It reminds me of while I was playing this, I was thinking if I had this game on my Game Boy Advance or my PSP or something while I was on a holiday, this game would be blowing my mind. You know what I mean? I would be so fucking in on this game if I had this when I was a kid.
I think
that's kind of what it feels like.
That's the merit of these games, is they remind you of GBA games and what you remember GBA games to look like, despite it looking a million times better. More, and there's a million more things going on that a GBA could ever handle, right? One thing I will mention really quickly, which I really like about this, is despite it being all 2D pixel art, kind of from an isometric angle, I guess, there's a 3D lighting and shadow system throughout the entire game. I know it's kind of like a meme, but this is the closest that I've personally thought a game is to the whole HD 2D thing. You have Octopath and Octopath 2. But when you're doing fireballs in combat in this, or there are certain parts, I haven't seen it very often, but there are parts where you can change the time of day dynamically.
Yes. Yeah.
It looks great. It looks amazing.
Yeah.
All the shadows move, and all the like light and dark all changes dynamically. It looks amazing, and I think there's parts like that when that happens where I've actually sort of gone like, oh shit, this is actually a really cool lighting system.
Yeah,
in a 2D pixel art game. It looks really cool. It's really unique, I think. I just wanted to make sure I got that point out. I just really like that. That and the music as well. Music's amazing in this game. I've already gotten several tracks from this just on my playlist because I just love the music in this game.
Those boss themes are really, really good.
Oh, the boss theme is amazing. The level up music is amazing.
Yeah.
There's just tons of good tracks in this game. If you've got a Game Pass subscription, check it out. That's where we're all playing it.
Play this instead of Starfield. It's better.
It
takes up way less space on your hard drive too.
Get this to 10 million downloads.
Yeah, this deserves 10 million players. Yeah.
But yeah, you two got anything else to say about Sea of Stars?
No. It's good. I really hope Gull doesn't turn out to be a bad guy.
Oh, yeah.
That's all I got to say on that.
I've got
He's
all
too pure.
party members now, by the way. Has anyone else got all party members?
Oh, I think I'm on my way to get the last party member.
I have 4 party members right now.
Right.
Yeah.
I thought Mole Boy was going to be a party member.
I did, yeah, so did I.
I'm kind of sad he wasn't.
I'm disappointed you don't get Mole Boy. Yeah.
But yeah, no, this game's great. Also, it's got fishing.
Yeah, I kept this.
Fishing minigame.
I brought this screenshot up specifically because I was like, we can't get through this surely without Sam at least mentioning the fishing minigame. That's Sam's whole thing.
It's just a really good minigame. It's engaging, but it's very quick, which I know that shouldn't make sense for fishing, right? But it's a game. It needs to be quick. It needs to be snappy. You need your dopamine and get going, you know?
Yeah.
And it's really good.
Yeah.
It's really good.
I feel like fishing minigames more than any others get messed up so many times, so easily. And in 90% of games I play, I go up to the fishing thing, I do it once, and I'm like, oh, neat, and then I just never engage with it ever again.
a game which I think has a not great fishing system is Fae Farm, actually.
Oh, really?
I finished that game, and it is the only skill I didn't max out, just because I couldn't sit there and do it over and over and over again.
That's a good enough transition to me. Do you want to, because you finished it, any final words on Fae Farm, just to wrap that up quickly?
Yeah, game was great. It really does feel like a game where it doesn't force you to be efficient.
Yeah.
But I think because of me, I was being efficient anyway. So maybe I just had a really easy time, because I finished this game on the last day of autumn. So I hit credits and I hadn't even got to the 4th season yet.
Oh wow.
So
Jesus,
there was actively content I hadn't done because I hadn't got to winter yet. Whereas I was looking up, because there's one major bug in this game, which is when you get to a certain story plot, one area stops growing its like daily harvestable items, and that area is the only place to get one of those items. So once you progress the story, you're just kind of locked out.
You're like soft locked,
you can still play the game without it. It's just you can't get that resource anymore. And everyone was like, yeah, like it stops working on year 3, and someone else was like, oh no, it's year 2 when it stops working. And I was like, bitch, it stopped working for me on day 14 of spring. Like
Sam's doing a speed run playthrough accidentally.
You get to that thing, you unlock the mines, and then it's like in the mines has ore, and ore is how you upgrade your tools. So it's like, cool, go to the mines, upgrade all my tools. Now I've got those upgraded tools, I'll use them.
Yeah.
And then you do all your quests, and then it unlocks the next area, which lets you upgrade your tools again, and then you use your tools again to upgrade your farm and everything. And that was my loop. It was dungeon first, upgrade tools, then see to my farm.
Yeah.
I'm not someone who makes it look pretty, so my house was literally, I only upgraded it once because that was all I needed to fit everything in, jam-packed with no extra space, and the bed by the door, so that I could get to sleep without having to move to the corner. Because efficiency.
Sam's that meme of like where it's someone's room, like someone's living room, and it's a TV and a chair and a fridge, and the comment is like, the caption is like, "Men be living like this, and they're really happy." And like all the replies are like, "Oh yeah, look, everything's there. He's got a TV, he's got a chair, he's got a fridge with food." It's like efficiency above all.
I think this game would probably be fantastic co-op as well.
Yeah.
Because if there was one thing that I really was not struggling with, but would have liked to do, is there's only so much you can do each day. And it's like, I always had an abundance of one resource and not enough of another. And then I would have to spend the next couple of days sorting that out. And then because I've done that, I've now got an abundance of what I was going out and getting.
Yeah.
And now lacking the other one. But yeah, no, this game was a blast. Again, I played it too efficiently, I think. But I think that's just me. I can't help it. That's just how I do. But this game's just great. It's very chill. It doesn't time lock you to anything. It's not like, oh, you... I think the biggest quest I had to do was grow 15 flowers.
Yeah.
Which, considering you've got like 400 spaces to grow stuff, and you get other farms as well, so you get even more space as the game goes on. It's got all the quality of life things it needs. Just really chill.
Yeah.
It's got all the customization.
Is there like a chance for like replayability? Is there like a new game plus you're interested in, or is it a sort of one and done?
No. This is you finish it and then you hit credits and then you just carry on playing.
Yeah.
So it's not like the game's ended. It's just you finish the story. So I did play it out to do winter. So I did an entire year. The only thing that I would go back and do is just fill out the collection log.
That's like 100% the game, basically.
Yeah,
do everything.
I'm not that kind of player to go out hunting for like, this can only be caught on spring during a thunder's day.
Yeah.
You know, when 3 trees have been planted nearby or some crap. You know what I mean? It's not what I'm about.
Yeah, it's not worth it.
It's got the option there. It's got all the collection logs and everything. As I said, I maxed out every skill but fishing, because fishing in other games, when you're doing the fishing minigame, time stops because it takes so long to do the minigame that you then don't get to do enough of the fishing in a day to match what you could do with other skills.
Yeah.
I would go and catch bugs, and I'd catch 5 bugs in like 4 seconds, and that's 200 XP. Then I'm fishing for 3 hours, and I've got like 20. Like,
some would say that's very true to actual fishing.
Exactly. But that's what I mean. Like, when it's a mini game, it needs to be quick and snappy.
Yeah.
Because otherwise,
I get you.
I don't want to be spending half my game doing a fishing mini game when the game does everything else so well. So, but hey, maybe that's just my personal experience with it. Maybe someone else.
This game is still sitting on my wish list, so one day it will get played.
Yeah.
One day. It's just when
As I was saying, I think £30 is fine for them to expect in this market, but I also think that consumers will just see this and go, "I'll wait till that's 15."
Yeah, I'll wait for a sale or something.
Yeah.
Wait for it for Game Pass.
Or Game Pass, yeah, just something. Or like Epic Games give away for free or something. That's cool, though.
So, but yeah.
Put a nice little bow on it. Put it to bed.
Fae Farm, great game.
Yeah. Okay, I'll one last little thing I'll talk about then quickly. I received in the post, finished and returned all within the same day, Mortal Kombat 1.
Oh damn, dude!
Yeah,
I guess this is the year for it, though, right? It's like you go a fast turnaround on these video games. I gotta get them in and out the door as quick as possible.
Yeah, I have to like elaborate on what I just said, because it's not because it's bad, in any way, shape, or form. I just got everything I wanted out of it in a really short amount of time.
It wasn't bad for a short period of time, but afterwards.
Well, it got to a point where, and I'll go into like the parts, but there are 2 main single player modes, and I did both to the point where I feel like all I was left with was just playing a fighting game, right? Like, okay, good job. Go play ranked, or go play casual, or go play online. And that's not what I was looking for from this game. I was really close. Like, when I finished this, I was like, oh, I could buy this, and I could see myself playing this for like a couple of weeks. But it's not cheap. It's like 70 quid on console.
Yeah.
So I've passed for now, because again, I'm playing like Sea of Stars and everything. But no, yeah, my intention with Mortal Kombat 1, still such a weird name, but yeah, Mortal Kombat 1 was to see everything the single player had to offer, and then however long that took, and then I was done with it. I finished the story mode, which I think for a lot of people, especially me, I love these story modes in games. I'm a massive fan of just a solid AAA campaign that lasts like 3-4 hours. Like, I know the cost to time ratio is all whack, if that's what you're here for. But I love that. Call of Duty campaigns, Mortal Kombat single player modes. I love it. MK1 is, I want to say it took me 3.5 hours from start to finish to see credits, to see the ending. But I really enjoyed it. I think it's got some really big issues. It's got a few like pacing issues, but I think after sleeping on it, I'm really happy with it. The crux of the story is, I won't like spoil anything. If anything, I recommend going on YouTube and just watching it, because I think you posted it, Will. You can there's just full uploads of the story.
4 hours, you can just watch the entire story in and out one YouTube video. Yeah.
The idea with this one,
I love it when games do that.
Yeah, like this game more than any other game is basically a movie. You go through the story and characters meet and stuff happens, and you fight, and you have to fight them in like a Mortal Kombat game. But after you win, it's just like a movie. It's just cutscenes. But this one, more than even more than MK11, the graphics and the production value and the cinematography is really top notch in this one, I think. Everything just looks so cool. All the characters are doing such cool moves all the time when they're in combat. But yeah, the crux of this one is it's kind of like another reboot. It's not a reboot, but it is a reboot. At the end of the last game, you defeat Kronika, who's like the keeper of time, and she controls all like the main timeline. And Liu Kang, who's one of the main characters, becomes the new like time god, and he makes a new timeline from scratch, which is what this game is. And the idea behind this timeline is everything is good. Like, every single bad guy that existed, you can't erase them from history. So what he does is he just makes them meaningless. Like, I think Shang Tsung is like a snake oil salesman. That's just like
that's cool.
He's an
that's
absolute
cool
nerd, and everyone like always sees through him, and he gets beaten up in the street and shit. Like Quan Chi is just like works in the mines. He's just a mining slave. There's like all the villains have changed origins. Shao Kahn is no longer Sindel's husband. He's her general. So he's still a bit of a knob, but he's not like power crazy. He's just like bossed around by Sindel. So she's like, "Oh, stop being moody. Fuck off." He's like, "Rrr." It's kind of funny to see. And yeah, most of the game is, for some reason, even though it shouldn't be happening, the bad guys are gaining power again somehow. So it's like, how is Shang Tsung becoming a sorcerer again? Like, I made him be a fucking loser. How is that happening? That's the crux of the story. But it's just really cool. It's like a whole new origin story for every character, but with really cool twists on it. Like, you see like Raiden, because Raiden is Earthrealm's protector in the older games. He's the old guy with lightning.
Yeah.
Now Liu Kang is Earthrealm's protector. So Raiden's just like a young dude. He's just like another guy now with lightning powers. There's cool stuff like that. You see Kung Lao's, how he gets his like razor hat, like just how that happens.
The razor hat origin story.
The razor hat origin story. You get like Kenshi, who is in all the other games, Kenshi is a blind samurai. That has telekinesis powers. And he's introduced in this game as just a Yakuza guy with full sight who has no powers. And it's like, okay, how are we going to get from point A to point B in this story? And it's really fun seeing all these new origin stories. It's really cool, especially if you're into these characters.
Has it got Kano? Is he in it?
Kano's not in this one. So one of the new gameplay mechanics is cameo characters.
Oh, the like assist characters.
Yeah, he's an assist. So he doesn't get any screen time. But every character that's in the roster is in the story, and some of the, in my opinion, the best iterations of these characters are in this game. Reptile is fucking awesome in this game.
I've seen some GIFs of Reptile going like full alligator mode. It looks sick.
It's like in other games, it's like he's a ninja, but he has some sort of lizard power, or sometimes he's just a lizard. In the movie, he's like straight up
really
lizard.
Nailed down what he was.
But in this one, it's explained how like his power is he can just turn into a human. He is a lizard that can turn into a human. But yeah, lots of other cool like twists on the story. Like you got Baraka, who's like typical villain jobber in all the other games, like guy with big teeth and blades out of his hands. He's cool. He's a good guy in this one. Early on, it's like, oh shit, it's Baraka, and he's like, I'm gonna help you. And it's like, oh, what? That's really weird. And the only I'll stop going on like around in circles with this, but the last one that really stands out is Shang Tsung. In this story, he's the villain of the story. He is amazing. His voice actor, whoever's doing his mocap, whoever's like animating it, like fucking nailed it. He's perfect in this game.
Yeah.
Every scene that he is in, he just absolutely eats up because he's just he's such a good character. Again, he's always kind of been, like old sorcerer, kind of wise, kind of sneaky. But I think in this one, they really lean into the fact that he was kind of reincarnated as a snake oil salesman. So again, he's like kind of smart, but he's also really like slimy and like conniving. It's just really good. Cool new origin stories. All your main stables are here. Johnny Cage, Scorpion, Sub-Zero, all the other lot are here.
Who was the most fun character to play that you played in the campaign?
I really got into Baraka, mainly because I only really played the story and a bit of invasion mode, which I'll mention briefly in a second. I was jumping between characters a lot. Like you get in the story 4 or 5 matches with a character, and it's like, okay, next chapter you are now Havoc, or you are now some other character. It's like, okay. But Baraka was the only character that I feel like I actually worked some stuff out really quickly with him.
Yeah.
Like every character has stuff, but because I found his stuff, I was like, oh, okay.
He was the most, yeah. He got his combos up and running.
Exactly,
quickly.
yeah. I found just immediately I found a really easy combo that did like 400 damage when enemies have, I think, about 1200 life. So I was like, oh, okay, this is what I'm spamming for his matches. And it looked cool. So I was like, oh, okay. Story wraps up a bit weird. I won't spoil it. But as I said, I highly recommend just watching this on YouTube. It's a really fun time. It's just a laugh. It's really good. It's really cool. The only other single player component I played was a mode called Invasion, which is really weird. It's like a little hub world, almost like a Mario overworld. Where you go from dot to dot running around.
Yeah.
And there are levels. Each level is a fight, basically. And the idea is that they'll have, like weird modifiers for these fights. And the idea is that you go around, you finish them, and I think there's a tutorial one right now, and there's 1 or 2 other ones, and then they're adding more per season. And this is their seasonal content. I like these, again, like Mario hub worlds. And there's a whole bunch of weird mechanics. You can get gear to change your character and change their stats, and there's element systems. It's all very involved. It's all kind of tied to like loot and random stuff as well. I wasn't really there for it, to be honest.
Yeah.
It felt like fluff on top of a fighting game that I wasn't really. I don't know.
Oh, it sounds like you didn't click with this, but you don't. Do you think it's like substantial that if someone is really into MK, is there enough there that you could say like, yeah, you don't even really need to play multiplayer this time around, just play the single player?
I don't think so. No, I think I got through the tutorial. The tutorial like world, which is Johnny Cage's house, which is very charming. It's very it's a cute idea. And I was just like, I'm not feeling this really. I could see you kind of going through it if you just want the gear from it. Like again, you get like cosmetic stuff for characters, which is kind of cool, but it's all behind that stuff. It's miles better than the previous games, which were all locked behind like mobile timers and microtransactions. Like this is a way better idea.
Is there microtransaction stuff here?
From what I understand, there is premium stuff, like premium skins and stuff. I don't think there's many in the game so far, but a lot of stuff is tied behind. It looks like a battle pass, but each character has each character can level up as you use them, both in invasion mode and in multiplayer, and they have an unlock tree. Not tree, it's like a linear path. But the closest thing I can think of, which no one else will know, but we might, is, do you remember Multiverses? Where a character had...
Yeah, I remember.
Yeah, and you remember it would have like a linear unlock for a character.
Oh, for that one character, yeah.
Interestingly enough, I didn't even think about it, but that was also Warner Brothers. Huh.
Testing ground, stuff in Multiverses.
It's basically that. And that's not locked behind money, it's just playtime, which is way better than, MK11's horrible microtransactions and everything that had. So it's a step in the right direction. I think if you're in for the long haul of playing multiplayer and stuff, I think it's a way better way of doing it.
Yeah.
But whereas I stuck with Street Fighter's single player campaign, this just ain't it. I don't think.
No. Do you? I don't know how to word this. Do you think it's because you've just come off of a big single player fighting game experience? Do you think you've got less time for this to get involved?
I don't know. I don't think so. I think you have your big elaborate Mortal Kombat campaign, but if they had said like, here's invasion mode, it's also got some other like story stuff, maybe not as not as crazy cinematic as the literal movie we just played you, but like it's got more stuff. I would have been like for it. I would have pushed through and been like, okay, yeah, I want to see that. But just from what I played, it just wasn't really there for me.
It's like too much of a jump to go from movie to whatever this little game is.
Yeah, it's not like 50-50. It's like, here's 90% of your cool single player stuff. Also, here's invasion mode where you get all your gear to make your character look cool, and there's like towers and some gimmicky sinking. It's like, I personally, unless there's a lot of stuff there that I find interesting, I would rather not learn gimmicky gameplay. I'd rather just go online and learn characters. And that's what I didn't do, because I just don't have it in me right now to learn a fighting game. I haven't tried the online.
Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No,
well, do you think you'll come back to Mortal Kombat? Maybe like 6 months from now, it's on sale.
I think so. Yeah, I think what put me off of learning the multiplayer for this is I didn't have it in me to learn a whole new just fighting game. Like, if anything, I should be going back to Street Fighter rather than learning Mortal Kombat.
I didn't want to say anything.
I should probably like do that as opposed to learning this. It's always like
putting your reps in.
Yeah, it's like, oh, new shiny. Like, I'll go to this one instead. But no, it was I wasn't feeling up to it, and also just PlayStation Plus for 1 month just to play Mortal Kombat for maybe like a week. I wasn't, because I don't have PS Plus for multiplayer.
Mm-hmm. Oh right, yeah.
So it was also like, do I want to commit and pay like 8-9 quid or something for online to play MK? I was like, no, I'm just gonna
just for the afternoon.
Exactly. Yeah, literally. So I think what I'll do, like, it's like you say, like, I'll probably in the future, because Mortal Kombat games go on quite deep discounts eventually.
Yeah.
When they get XL packs and stuff with all the DLC and that, I'll probably buy that and then actually check it out proper on PC at some point. So that's what I'll do. But yeah, if you get any interest in Mortal Kombat, just watch it on YouTube. It's a really fun time. It's all there. That's what I should have done, really, because like I said, I rented finished it in a day, and then returned it to my rental place.
But it's such a shame though, right? Because it's like you said, the production values, and for that brief 4-hour window of content, it's like it's off the charts how much fun you can have. But it's just like, I don't want to pay 70 quid to watch a movie. That's ridiculous. Yeah.
It's like, at least with COD campaigns, if you're really into first-person shooters, you've got all the multiplayer and stuff afterwards that you're going to put hundreds of hours into. So I guess these campaigns are a nice treat for the fighting game equivalent. People that are going to spend hundreds of hours playing online. Here's a cool campaign to go with it.
It's a weird one, isn't it? Because I feel like it's you mentioned COD, and that's kind of in the same boat where I bet a lot. Wasn't there a news story a while back that was like, like 70% of people, they don't even touch the campaigns. It's just straight into multiplayer. Yeah. And I feel like MK must kind of be in the same ballpark where it's like they put it must be ridiculous the amount of money they put into these things that like it's over in 4 hours and most people never do it. Never bother.
As I'm watching it, I'm like, this is just money. Like it's so high fidelity. This like Mortal Kombat. It's better than the actual Mortal Kombat movie that came out at the cinema.
Right, well, that's not saying much.
yeah, that's true. But it's like I completely agree. It's like, if the games are now too expensive for the casual person to buy in to play/watch, and the people actually buying this game to play it aren't playing the campaign, who is it actually for? Is it just for me, and this weird outlier?
And who's signing off on this? Like, I guess they must be really passionate about making these campaigns. They must, and I'm glad they are. I love that Mortal Kombat has such a ridiculous mythology behind it at this point. But I can't imagine anyone like an outsider coming in and being like, you are spending trillions on this. Why? No one's doing it.
It's probably just Ed Boon. He's like,
he just really loves it. Yeah.
Ed, seriously, we can't do it anymore. He's like, shut the fuck up. This is my series. I am having a new movie with every single game that costs 80% of the game's budget. We are doing this. I need to see Scorpion throw his thing and say, get over here in the highest of 4K.
In 8K, God, it does. Even just watch, like, it's like I'm so removed. I've got the stream up on my other monitor, but like watching a Discord stream of a store page with a video running, I'm still like, fuck me, it's such a good looking game. Good lord.
I think this is next to The Last of Us Part 1, like the PS5 remake. Yeah. This is up there for me with some of the best looking characters like depicted in a game. I think Capcom do characters really well, just like character models. Naughty Dog do insanely cool characters, and Mortal Kombat, Warner Brothers it's just insane. The facial mocap, everything as they're talking, everything's there. Every minute detail of just like an actor or an actress, I feel like is there. It looks incredible. It's so good, and that's what really gets you invested.
Yeah.
Oh, it's just fun time. I had fun with it, and I'm done with it, which is why I had to sneak in this week, because I'll forget about it by next week, and it will never ever get mentioned. So.
Good fatalities this time around.
They're okay. They're not the best.
Oh, okay.
Obviously, the highest fidelity, but they're not the most. They're not my favorites compared to previous games. I still think MK11, the last game, had some really good ones.
Had some good ones, yeah.
That's one last weird, not even a complaint, but just a weird thing I noticed in the campaign specifically. Not a lot of actual gore, oddly enough. It gets a bit crazy in the last sort of 30 minutes.
Yeah.
But most of the campaign, there's not actually a lot of killing, which is kind of interesting.
I guess it's like, I guess they don't want to. If your main is in the campaign, like horrifically dying, I guess like that's not going to be a fun time, right?
Well, it's weird. Yeah, it's interesting how you can do fatalities in a match, and it's just like, it's a fatality, whatever. But if someone dies in the story, like that's canonical now.
That counts.
That actually counts. So you don't really get much of that in the campaign. But yeah, that was a fun time. I enjoyed it. So, what we got left? We've got a little bit of time left. We'll wrap up. We did the Xbox stuff already. We can really quickly wrap up the Nintendo Direct and the Sony show from last week. We haven't got to go into anything crazy, but as we mentioned, it's just timing, right? I think it was on Thursday last week, in between us recording and the episode going out, there was a Nintendo Direct and a PlayStation State of Play. Not the same time, but same day, which is just insane. We'll go through that really, really quickly. Let me find my tab for it. We'll start with the Nintendo one, just the big stuff. Very remake heavy over at Nintendo right now. The big one they ended with was Paper Mario: The Thousand Year Door, which is a remake of the GameCube game. Has anyone here played this?
No, but it's one that people always talk about as like, this is the Paper Mario game, so I'm very excited for it.
I have played this. I have finished this, I think twice. Once when it came out and once like way later. This is the second game. It's Paper Mario 2. It's kind of odd how they're just completely skipping the first one. But this is the one that everyone talks about. This game's great. Paper Mario is a series that's gotten really weird over the years, because people always say, bring back RPG Paper Mario. Because I think every Paper Mario after this one completely changes the gameplay in a weird way that no one likes. After this one, you had one on the Wii, which was like a weird platformer. There was one on the Wii U called Color Splash, which again had some weird gameplay. There was one on the Switch that I played called the Origami King.
Yeah, and that wasn't like an RPG.
It wasn't an RPG. It was a weird puzzle game. It had the same overworld as this one does, where you walk around as Paper Mario and do some environmental puzzles. But there was no combat. Basically, it was like a weird puzzle. So they're bringing back this one, which everyone remembers as the last sort of traditional JRPG. Kind of combat. The purists
for the purists.
But people are excited about this. I'm excited. It looks cool. As I said, the era of remakes you had. If I scroll down, you got Mario versus Donkey Kong as well. This is a remake of a Game Boy Advanced game, which I played again, probably like 2 decades ago. At this point, this one I feel a bit weird as a remake. Mm-hmm. I kind of feel like with this one specifically, you could have just like chucked it on the virtual console that you've got.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's like an RPG, like Paper Mario, like sure. Big RPG like this. Does it need a 60 quid coat of paint?
It comes down to it's a puzzle game. So if you've done the puzzles before, do you really want to do them again?
I
get what you're saying. Yeah.
This is one. I'll still play it. Like I love all this stuff. Really, I just don't know. More than anything they showed, I'm not sure if this needs to be, a proper full-on remake. But hey, how you had that? Another big one, F-Zero 99, which
I actually tried this.
Yeah, you said it controlled my ass, right?
Yes, I tried it because I was like, oh, maybe it will feel a bit like Mario Kart, but the turning is something else in this game. It does not feel smooth at all, but that's maybe what F-Zero fans want,
Well, it's literally a Super Nintendo game, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I haven't played this. I assume it just controls like the Super Nintendo one did.
The original, yeah.
Yeah.
That's such a fun idea, though.
It's a fun idea for a fan base that I don't know what they're like, but like I would be kind of
might
annoyed.
not appreciate that.
Yes, yeah. It's like you getting Star Fox
99.
Or imagine like Pikmin 4
Bro,
didn't
that game
exist,
would
and
slap,
then
okay?
like Pikmin 4 doesn't exist, and then like here's Pikmin Bloom, a walking game. Also here's Pikmin 99. It's like fuck, just make a game, Christ.
Make a new one. Yeah,
okay,
yeah.
What do we think is going to be the next 99? Because they've done a few of these. They did Tetris, they did Mario.
Have they done a Bomberman?
I think
there was a Bomberman Battle Royale.
Battle Royale, yeah, there wasn't there? I played that on stream. Didn't win one. And I think it's shut down now, so never mind.
I feel like the answer to that question for me, the fact that F099 exists, means that I probably just can't guess it at this point. Because it makes F099 makes sense when you say it out loud. Like, yeah, that works. That sounds cool.
But you'd
never guess it. I would never have guessed this.
Yeah.
Like, fucking Mario versus Donkey Kong 99 or something for all I know.
Mike Tyson's Punch Out 99.
99.
I don't know how that would work.
That'd be sick.
That's not for me.
You take
Metroid 499.
Metroid 99. That could happen.
Yeah.
What? What?
We'll make it work.
Yeah, fair enough. I'll make it work.
Yeah, we'll make it work. Well, F099. Fuck it. What else did we get?
I'm always shocked. There's never been because there's been mods for like Mario Battle Royale, right? Where you have to complete the level, and if you're at the back, you lose, and then it does another level. And I'm shocked that's never been like an actual thing. I would have thought that would be maybe they don't want to like make Mario competitive or something. But
you had a Mario Run, I think it was called, on smartphones. Remember that?
Yeah.
That was just Mario, but an endless runner. You could do something like that and just have people lose.
Oh yeah,
I forgot about that. It gets harder. Everyone forgot about that. It kind of came out and had no monetization, I think, and then just like quietly vanished.
Yeah.
Nintendo were like, we don't want to do it again. It made like no money.
Yeah. Well, that didn't work. Yeah.
Then they released the Animal Crossing one, where it was like, yeah, come buy t-shirts on mobile for.
Yeah, it was a Mario Kart mobile game.
Mario Kart Tour. Yeah.
That apparently is closing down soon, or the final content update is coming for it.
Oh really? I imagine it's because they've moved everything to Mario Kart 8 Deluxe DLC, so now there's no reason for it to exist anymore.
Yeah.
That's the end game of every Mario Kart now, is to just get merged into a single Mario Kart game with 2 million tracks in it.
What an honor though for the mobile guy to, he makes his little mobile track, and they're like, yeah, we're putting that in. Good news, that's going into Mario Kart 8. Bad news, you're out of a job.
Yeah. Also, bad news is whenever the track is shown and it says Mario Kart Tour in the corner of the track, everyone goes, "Oh, for God's sake, another Mario Kart Tour track." Sorry, Mario Kart Tour, dude. That's just what people think. Luigi's Mansion 2 HD remake of the 3DS Luigi's Mansion game. That game was okay. It was alright.
Was it though?
It was okay. It was.
I want the original Luigi's Mansion.
That game.
I thought that was a precious series. I thought you couldn't say anything bad about any Luigi's Mansion games.
Luigi's Mansion 2 was weird because Luigi's Mansion 1 was it's in one big mansion. Luigi's Mansion 2 was they split it up into 6 smaller mansions, so I'm not sure. It didn't for me.
The reason being was because it was a 3DS game, so it was like here's some smaller handheld chunks of Luigi's Mansion that you could finish and put down for a bit.
Yeah,
it's not my favorite. So, but it's one of those things where I feel like Nintendo now at the end of the Switch's life cycle is like, right, okay, fuck, what's not on Switch? Luigi's Mansion 2, yep, port it, fucking go. What else have we not got?
End it.
Yeah, Mario versus Donkey Kong on yeah, fuck it, ship it, port, remake it, like green light.
reaching into the gigantic sack of Mario IPs and just like, what's left in here? What have we got?
I won't be surprised if just randomly one Nintendo Direct, they're like, yeah, on Switch, here's Mario Party 7.
just like 3 oddly, like 4, 8, and 7. There you go.
Remember, I think 6 or 5 is the one that people always love, though.
No, that's my point. It's a random ass Mario Party from like the GameCube or something. What they brought back the Mario Party with the microphone. Do you remember that?
Oh my god, I forgot.
Yeah, you forgot about the Mario Party with the microphone. That's a real thing.
Does it have a mic? Does the Switch have... It does. Oh yeah, it does, doesn't it? Yeah.
Mario Party.
Yeah, sure. Whack that on there. What does it matter?
Microphone.
Go for it. They should just do every Mario Party, like 1 to 10, just all in one go.
It was Mario Party 6 on the GameCube.
What is the difference between the Mario Parties?
Minigames.
Oh, like
that's it.
The weird small things. Yeah,
it is. I know that one of the ones on Switch was bad because it said every character going through individually on the board. It was like, oh yeah, you all four move together in a car.
Yeah, it was horrible.
I hated that one. Hated it.
I think that was like 9 or 10 did that, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was one of the newer ones, yeah.
Yeah, and then they did the Switch one, which did really well just because, hey, it's on the Switch. And then they made Super Mario Party, which was it was like a
collection?
Yeah, it was a collection. Yeah. That's the word I'm looking for. It was a collection of all the best mini games. It was like, well, that's just cheating at this point. You've got like 1,000 mini games to choose from. But yeah, what else did we? I think that's kind of it. Another Code. Both the games are getting remade. I think me and like 6 other people are only people that care about that, but that's cool.
What is Another Code?
It was it a launch game? It might have been a launch game for the DS.
Yes, okay.
And it was like I think it was first person. It was like a puzzle novel game, kind of it's called visual novel, kind of puzzly. It was in like the DS had loads of games like this. There was like Hotel Dusk, Another Code, like Phoenix Wright. Like the DS had tons of these sorts of games that were like puzzly visual novels.
Yeah.
And this was one of them. And I had completely forgotten about this series. This is a series, as far as I was concerned, it's just gone, right? It's just dead. It exists on the DS and the Wii. But no, bringing it back, which is crazy. Not the most exciting announcement, but by far the like least expected for me.
Yeah.
That's
cool. I'm glad. Yeah. I'm glad these things. It's like for every one of these that gets a remake, right? Which is good for like preservation. I kind of wish they would, like you said, just like all of these should just be able to be gettable on Switch somehow.
Yeah,
you know what I mean, like
I know they would never do it because it makes no business sense. But the idea of like, here's a Mario vs. Donkey Kong remake, and at the same time, here's the original on our virtual console. Yeah, like here's both of them. Like the remake has a bunch of new levels, but here's the original. Like that would be cool. Like here's Another Code remake. Also at the same time, here's the really shitty looking DS version on our virtual console.
Yeah,
it should be there to validate the existence of the remake
of a remake. Yeah.
But
yeah, it's a good way to put it.
Yeah, but that would never happen. Wrap this up really quickly. Splatoon 3 DLC looks like Nier Automata. Looks kind of cool. New WarioWare. Super Mario RPG got a new trailer. Last wave of the Mario Kart 8 DLC. I think that's basically it. New amiibos. Tomb Raider remakes. Triangles are turning into circles.
Amiibos are still going? It doesn't matter. We don't.
They're doing the final Smash ones.
Yeah. Okay. It feels like some kind of contract obligation where
I think
Sora is the only one that doesn't have an amiibo.
Yeah,
then they have to do it.
They're doing Tears of the Kingdom, Zelda, and Ganon, and 2 characters from Xenoblade Chronicles 3.
Yeah,
people love that Ganondorf. If my Twitter is anything to go by, people really like that Ganondorf.
What if Ganondorf took his top off? Oh my god! 10 pre-orders from me, please. Alright, I'm going to move on from this because that's basically everything. Nothing crazy from the state of play, the PlayStation 1, unless you are a massive Final Fantasy fan. You got a really good trailer at the end for FF7 Rebirth.
Yeah.
Which is part 2 of, I think, 3 games remaking.
That looks so good.
It looks insane. That new trailer for Rebirth is actually insane. It shows so much more than I thought it would. So many mini games. It shows story points that are way beyond where I thought that game was going to like cut off, if that makes sense.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because when I think of it, when you know it's been cut into 3 parts, you try and like in your head, like where would it make most sense to stop part 2?
Yeah.
And then that trailer just shows bits that are way beyond that.
It showed the gold saucer, which is the best part of the game.
Yeah, it's gold saucer. You've got more like, what do you call it, like cabaret scenes? Is that the word? With like people dancing and doing all the can and shit. Chocobo racing, chocobo breeding. Just a whole bunch of other mini games, combos in combat.
Does that mean we're getting high res Kate Sith?
Yes.
In the remake.
In the trailer.
We are? Yes.
Yeah. Apparently, they have said that any data from the first game is not carrying over. You might get some like bonus, like a costume or something, but your save data from the first game is not going to matter in the second game at all.
Yeah,
that's kind of disappointing.
Disappointing, but I get it. Like for balance reasons, it's a new RPG.
And I think apparently they've also said that the final 2 characters, there'll be guest characters in this, but they won't be playable. So you have to wait till the third game for them to be playable.
That's how it was in the last game, I think.
With one character, yeah.
With what's his name? Doggy.
Red
13. Yeah, I'm more excited for this now, seeing this trailer, than I was before. There are certain bits in this trailer that I forgot about in the base game. Where I'm like, oh yeah, actually, I can't wait to see that on like PS5. That's the cool thing as well, is this new game is now, I think, PS5 only until it comes out on PC. The point I'm making is it's not on PS4. So you should see...
Oh, thank God.
Yeah, you should see better looking visuals.
No,
the cool thing is, the peasants can't play it.
no, but because they don't have to cater for old hardware.
Yeah, I get it.
I completely agree with Sam. We're what, like 3 or something years into this gen now, and we're still making PS4 games. Like, drop it, just leave it, let it go.
Yeah.
So
I'd say drop it like it's hot, but it was never that hot.
Yeah, PS4 was never hot. Who has a PS4? No one has a PS4. What else did they show? Yeah, sorry, you go.
I think they've also. I think for this one, it was like listed as 3 months exclusivity or something.
Wasn't it really long for the last game? Wasn't it on console for ages?
It was like a year or something, and then it went to
then it went to Epic, and then you had to wait again if you wanted it on Steam.
Yeah,
you had to wait. It was it got like a separate version, which was the Steam one. What was it? It was like Final Fantasy VII.
Retrograde or something?
Integrate, yeah.
Integrate, yeah, because it was Final Fantasy plus the DLC.
Yes, yeah, with the Yuffie. Is
Yeah.
that her name? Yeah, the Yuffie DLC.
But so I think because like this is a part 2. I think they're like, it would be mean to make everyone wait as long as they did previously. So
I don't think they care about that. I think they care about their contractual obligations of what they are and aren't allowed to do.
I just like the board of directors at Square Enix, and they're just like, well, it was a bit mean last time.
Yeah, it's not very nice, is it? We should probably.
So is that confirmed? Is that like it's not going to be as long this time to come to PC?
Apparently, somewhere it said 3 months exclusivity. That doesn't mean that it's going to go instantly on PC or something, but that was listed somewhere.
Steve comes back to the podcast to spread misinformation.
And they said that if you buy the game, your PP will grow 2 inches.
That's true. That is actually true, though. That's a real thing. Yeah, that's a great trailer. It's a really good trailer. They also showed, if I go back to my page, we have it. The last 2 that I mentioned, 2 bigs. A bit more on Marvel's Spider-Man 2. Not a lot to talk about there, but it just, every time I see that game, I feel like it just looks better and better.
19 inches of Venom.
19 inches of pure Venom. Coming soon in October.
That was a good couple days.
And Resident Evil 4 Separate Ways DLC, which I think is out now. If it's not now, it's tomorrow. So
yeah,
Separate Ways is in the original RE4. When you finish the game, you got a new game mode called Separate Ways, and it was a big chunk of the game from Ada's perspective. It was kind of cool. It was almost like not New Game Plus, but like a twist on the game. You're going through basically the same places as the previous game, but just like, stuff's different. This time, it wasn't in the base game, and it's being resold as DLC. Yay! Hopefully, it's got more to it. Something to warrant the price tag. I don't know, because when RE4 remake came out and it was missing, and I think there was some stuff, if you like dug through all the files, there was some stuff pointing to Separate Ways, and people were like, well, like, where is it? So here it finally is. We'll see how it is when people start playing it. Just hope it's good. Separate Ways was quite fun in the original, and Ada's a cool character. She's not her best version. I think I talked about that when I played it, how this version of Ada was weird.
The same voice actress?
I assume so. I mean, these things take so long to make anyway.
I suppose, yeah.
Which was the best version of Ada?
Ada in RE2 remake was pretty cool. I think it was a different voice actress. It's not her character in RE4 remake. It's her voice lines. Her voice lines are really... not weird is not the right word. They're a bit flat. They're just a bit odd. It's hard to describe. If you saw it or watched it or played it, you kind of get it.
I still need to pick that up.
That game's great.
It's what.
I was gonna say, to me, the best Ada was DBD before they nerfed the skin where she had they gave her shorts underneath her skirt.
I forgot about that. Yeah, play RE4 remake, Will. You really enjoy it. It's really good.
It's just too much going on. If you're done with news, I've got a little stinger.
Yes, I saw that. Yeah.
Yeah, you saw.
Start talking about it. I will grab the link.
While we were podcasting, right now, the official Counter-Strike
new Mario Party. Oh shit! Sorry.
The official Counter-Strike Twitter tweeted, "What are you doing next Wednesday?" Which, I don't know. I don't know if you don't know. CS2 has been in beta for a while, but it's always been closed, and they keep opening it up to more and more people. And I think the original plan they said was summer, 2023, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, well,
you're a bit
September
late now,
guys. What's going on? But it is Valve time, so whatever. So I don't know what else that could refer to if not a general release for Counter-Strike 2.
No, you know what it's going to be. It's going to be a trailer with a release date at the end.
Nicki Minaj skin in Counter-Strike.
I fucking wish.
Maybe this could be just like a countdown to an announcement of the actual release date, but I don't know. It's Valve, right?
They're weird, Valve.
They're weird.
They just do what they want.
I could totally see them just tweeting out, because it doesn't matter what they do. Counter-Strike is ludicrously popular. They don't have to care about anything else that's going on in gaming, do they? They'll just drop it one afternoone.
I was gonna say they've tweeted this out, and then next Tuesday they'll just drop it and be like, "Lols."
Whoops. That is 100%.
It's just like you say, it's just such a massive property or a big hit. Like, imagine if you've got your game releasing on that day. You just reply to this tweet like, "What you do next Wednesday?" It's like, "We're not releasing our game anymore." You fucking announce this with a week to go. Like, thanks a lot. Okay, all the news goes straight into releases, right? So I'm going to confidently put Counter-Strike 2 on next week's releases.
Whoa, okay. This is our, what's the word? Our legitimacy as a podcast you're putting on the line here.
That's what
How are people ever going to value our opinions again if you get this wrong?
There will definitely be some kind of announcement next week. Oh, I've already started backpedaling.
Oh, he's walking it back already.
No, Counter-Strike 2 next Wednesday. You heard it here first. No, the only confirmed massive big release you've got for next week is Cyberpunk Phantom Liberty, which is the big DLC drop for obviously Cyberpunk. It's Wednesday today. 2.0 update for Cyberpunk comes out tomorrow, Thursday, which is yesterday, if you're listening to this as it released. The big 2.0, from what I've seen from a lot of people are more excited for this 2.0 patch than the actual expansion itself.
That's same, yeah.
It seems to be revamping a lot of stuff, a lot of mechanics, a lot of balancing, but also just adding systems that they said should have been there from the start, like just better police integration, stuff like that. Interesting though. So yeah, you got the big drop for Cyberpunk, the update, and then the DLC. I'm actually getting kind of excited to play this. I think. I don't know. It's a weird spot to be in.
Yeah.
They tweeted out saying you can play your existing characters with the 2.0 update, but we highly recommend that you restart.
Oh, of course they'd say that. We highly recommend you play our game again to pad the numbers on Steam charts before the DLC launches a week from now. Yeah. Of course they're going to say that.
I don't know. I mean, I just got a Steam message that it's on sale right now, so they're really trying to rope people into this. DLC.
I own Cyberpunk. I had it gifted to me for, I think, Christmas from, I think my brother got it for me for like 25 quid. It goes on sale a lot of the time for half price.
Yeah.
I've just finished Edge Runners, which is the Netflix show. Loved that. That's the Netflix anime. Fantastic show. Really enjoyed that. I'm just really feeling Cyberpunk.
You're feeling cyberpunky?
I'm feeling cyberpunky. I've bounced off of Starfield. Wasn't feeling Starfieldy. I'm kind of feeling cyberpunky.
Yeah.
So it's one of those things where I feel like I could play it, after 2.0 and Phantom Liberty and get like 5 hours in and be like, oh, I'm not actually feeling very cyberpunky. I thought I was, but I'm not. But
you weren't cyberpunky.
I wasn't cyberpunky, but we'll see. There's still so much stuff coming out soon. The idea of just jumping into a massive RPG again. We've mentioned this before, but it is. We've said this before with, oh my god, there's always something coming out. There's always so much stuff, but everything feels like a 50+ hour RPG.
Yeah, everything's an experience these days.
Yeah,
I was thinking about it. I honestly think I had new world fatigue by the time Starfield came around, because it's like by the time I got to my hands on Starfield, every time an NPC would be like, oh boy, the faction that I am with has been real having, and I'm like, I can't be bothered. I don't want to learn about another faction in Strife. I can't be bothered again. Yeah.
The last big influx of games I remember was right at the start of COVID, and it was games like it was Doom Eternal. You had Resident Evil 3 remake. There was Animal Crossing, and there was, I think, Final Fantasy 7 remake as well, which was like, oh my god, all these amazing games all at once, insane. But it's like Doom was 10 hours long.
Yeah.
Final Fantasy 7, it's pretty long. RE3 remake, I loved, was like 4 hours long. Now it's like we've had this year. It's like, oh, here's Zelda, and then here's Diablo, and then here's Starfield. It's like everything is just enormous.
Yeah,
and it's tiring. It's like you say, it's no demerit of the game, because I love these games. Are all good. I love these games. It's not the game's fault that it's a long game if it's if that's its design.
I mean, it's just nice that if you properly pace it, we've got years of content here. That we
that's the cool thing.
Who cares what comes out in 2024? We got the rest of 2023 to play through.
You're playing all these fucking games. Go for it.
I was just going to caveat there is if you can pace it.
True.
I certainly cannot.
No, I can't. But some people.
I want to play everything, and therefore I dabble in everything and don't give everything the proper time. If I gave everything the proper time, I'd be playing all these fucking games till 2077.
I'm the opposite. I play one game and say everything else is shit, so I can feel better.
Yeah, to validate the one game you're putting all your time into. I'm going to wrap this up there then, because we're kind of done. Thank you for listening, everybody. We'll do our socials and then bugger off. Thank you again for coming back, Steve. I haven't had you on in a while. It's good to have you here again.
Yeah. You're welcome.
Yeah. You want to plug your stuff? You used to do it really well. Can you still do
it? My name is Quikwix. It's Quyikwix. You can find me on all good platforms, but mostly Twitch, Twitter, and maybe YouTube.
Nice.
Ooh,
maybe. Probably not, but maybe. You can find you where, Will?
You can find me where you normally find me.
And Sam?
Hello.
And I'm also not anywhere. I'm just as mysterious as Sam. You can't find me anywhere. But we're done. So have a nice evening, have a nice morning, have a nice afternoon, wherever it is where you are. We'll catch you all next week. Bye, everybody. Bye.
Bye, everyone.